and welcome back to the next portion and segment of this video. We're picking up on the marriage series. We're in the midst of the Kingdom Spouses. We're on part 5, I believe. It was like the 5th part. So, what is it that I want to point out? I'm talking about the TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Buffy and Angel relationship, but I'm using that as a outline template for Kingdom Marriage, and it is working so well. I'm like, woo. But I'm gonna step into the book series again to talk about how even in the midst of y'all's separation, y'all may have times where y'all need to deal with each other. Maybe you had kids, so you're in a relationship with somebody new, and you have kids with your ordained spouse. They may have to come in for a period of time where they're taking care of the kids. They're watching the kids. And in the midst of it, they're going to see you with whoever it is that you're dating, so on and so forth. Doesn't mean that you're going to stay with this person. Doesn't mean you're going to marry this person. That's just as it is. That he's going to see you with whoever it is you're with. You're going to be around them. Now, if you choose to rub it in their face, that's a different story. Some y'all women get petty. Stop playing. But if you know that's your God-ordained spouse, don't do that. You know that you're just biding time with this person because you know that's your man. Have them up there crying to somebody else. And then you gonna get mad when you see them hanging out with somebody else. Come on now. You can't get mad if you're rubbing your relationship in their face. Tell me that some of y'all don't do this, and I'll let it go, but I know some of you do. Stop playing. Stop playing. Y'all might be separated from your God-ordained spouse, and y'all are doing these things. Don't do this. Do not. Okay? There may be certain cases where y'all have to come together to deal with certain things in relation to your calling, in relation to your partnership, business endeavors, business things between the two of you. And if you are separated and your ordained spouse is hooked up with somebody else, you've hooked up with somebody else, doesn't mean that you're not going to get back together. Some people spend 2-3 years with other people. It happens. But God still got a calling on your life. That don't matter to nothing to him. He's like, in this season, y'all supposed to do this. So I need y'all to do this. And sometimes, in a way, he'll use that thing that he brought y'all back together for, to bring you close together to come to the realization, I don't need to be with this person. I need to be back with you. He'll use it to open their eyes. Now, when some cases, God will use a drastic event. Some situations you may find, as I said, a parent's death or something like that. If there's a death of a parent, a child, a grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, so on and so forth, the respect that you have for each other will pull you back together. And it may bring you into a state where you are more tentative to listening and hearing for potential opening for a new start for each other. Now, in your weakness, you may go for the thing of, oh, let's get back together, but in your common sense, you might be like, this might not be good to do right away. because we know the drama that we have, because we've been at it back and forth 3, 4, 5 years. This is our thing. But that's when you need to take caution and be like, okay, if we're going to do this, let's do it from a smart standpoint. Okay? But if you choose not to, because you know you both need time, make the choice. God will allot you. I'm going to get to towards the end. We're coming up on it. I'm going to explain why I'm allowing all of these breaks in the relationship. Some people do this. Some people really actually do this. They constantly break up because they're afraid. But I'm giving you these examples because it shows you how in different ways it's going to talk to somebody's relation. It's going to hit somebody's closet. Somebody going to get hit by this. And they're going to be like, yep. I already know people are viewing these videos, so I know you're going to get hit in your closet in some way. So, with that being said, you may run into a situation where, what happens when it's you? What happens when the near-death experience is you? What happens when you're the one that's about to die or almost dying? They think they're calling what you have a terminal illness and you're going to die. What happens when your God-ordained spouse finds that out? It's going to break. Sometimes the Lord will allow that to get y'all back in order. Be like, wait a minute. Y'all need to get in order. I need you to come to the understanding that y'all ain't got time like this. Now, some people will sit up there and say, well, God did it in order to put a lesson on these people. No, he didn't. God will allow the enemy, for in Job, in chapter 1 or 2, it states that the enemy was prowling around like a lion looking for whom in which he may devour. And the Lord said, have you tried my servant Job? There may be moments where the Lord will allow sickness to befall you. But it's a test. He ain't sitting there, I'm trying to do a lesson for you. It may even be somewhat terminal because he needs to test your strength. Do you trust him to save you in that moment? And your spouse, the one that you're supposed to be with, he will come to your side immediately. Immediately. And that may be the thing that'll be the turning point to turn y'all back to one another's hearts. Now, sometimes a female may feel like, I don't need you here. And after you've recovered from your illness, you may come back and you may contact them. And it's through these moments of contact where you will have those intense conversations, where you'll go through your process. Because God is forever growing you, and because God is forever growing you, you may end up going through seasons where if y'all will come back together, and you will begin to heal in multiple ranges and areas that you are having issues within. And the intensity of physical illness upon you or the other person may cause you to be like, y'all have to go through those intense moments that y'all have been avoiding because either one of y'all been in rebellion. That's why y'all keep separating so much, because God's got to separate you because of y'all rebellion. Elroy sees all things. And because of that, you've got to walk through certain experiences. But the Lord will allow you to keep in touch. Long phone calls. You may end up having long phone calls talking about the very calling that you both have on your life. They will give you advice, and it'll be like a breath of fresh air. And the thing about it is, if y'all would stop being in rebellion, y'all could be together. It's just, you're still in rebellion, and the Lord can't allow y'all. When God's trying to prune you and deal with y'all, he may even allow y'all to talk, but he won't allow. There are some people right now right now that the Lord is preparing for God ordained marriage, that He's not allowing the two people to get together for marriage, but what He's doing is He's allowing them to have phone conversations. They're getting their healing through phone calls. They're dealing with the areas they need to deal with by phone. Let's see. He may take them out of their comfort zone. Maybe you'll take them on vacation. You ever seen those movies where the people go on vacation and throughout that vacation they come to realization of where their love and their caring are? Because they come into isolation. That's a perfect example. Elisa Marie did a video just recently talking about, was it Lover's Paradise or some? It was one of them shows where it was a test of the people's relationship, coming to understanding whether they wanted to be in relationship with the person they were supposed to be with or not. Sometimes the Lord will pull you out of your used to surroundings and put you in a different scenario. He'll take you to an island. He'll take you to New Mexico. He'll take you wherever that is, and put you in a scenario where you're working together. And in that closeness, that you will see how He protects you and how you protect Him. He will see how you protect Him, and you will see how He protects you again, and it will reignite the care and the loving that you always had for each other. But the intimacy, it's almost like you can feel the God winks. It's like you can sense each other because you're supposed to be together. You will cover for each other because your hearts love one another. It's the truth of what the matter is. If it comes a scenario where it's you and this person and maybe a third person, and you feel like, or the God ordained spouse feel like he can't save you or he can't help you in that moment, God is always a provider. That in the midst when you feel like you can't take, neither one of you can, He will send in a third party that will be the mediation to get you back on track with one another. He will. When your relationship, or when you're on life support, when you ready to walk away from it, or when He ready to walk away from it again, He'll send somebody in to breathe life into your relationship so that you may be able to see it in a different way. It's the best line that I ever heard in one of the books, where it's like the man said that I care for you so much that I better leave now, because if I don't leave, I may never be able to leave again. Which is a good thing. It's actually a good thing. That means that His caring and love for you is so in His heart that He can't bear to be away from you. If circumstances aren't in alignment, this is talking to y'all women. Some of y'all got scenarios where the man has other things going on in his life. He can't be with you right now. He cannot be with you right now. He can't. So he's not interacting with you because he knows that if he does, he will not be able to leave, and he has to straighten out his side of the story. He got to straighten that out before he comes back to you. So let him deal with the things he got to get in order, close doors, deal with all of that kind of stuff so that he can get back to you. And it may be long. There may be some issues, but you gotta let the process happen. It's uncomfortable, it is, but let it be, because it's necessary. So, what have you? Oh, good. We're almost to the end of this. With that being said, Once y'all let go of y'all foolishness and dealing with the other men's and the counterfeits and him dealing with his men and his women and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you may find yourself in a predicament where the two of you come face to face and he yet again saves your life. In a saving of your life moment, because that's what the Lord does. He always sends your God ordained spouse in to save your life, whether it's in the spirit or whether it's in the natural. You're gonna bring them back in, and it's gonna be like, yet again, y'all was never apart. Yet again. And this is a moment of decision. What do you want? Because at some point the man is going to come to a point where he comes to the recognition and realization. You're it. That's it. I know that you're it. Do you want this? And when he comes to say, do you want this? You have to make the decision. Now, some of y'all may do what actually happened in this series. She said, I'm not ready. I know I'm not ready. So because I'm not ready, I'm not going to put you on a merry-go-round. I'm going to say, not yet. It may be some time. But with that being said, as the storyline goes, they fumbled around in their significant, non-significant relationships, and it still wasn't working because they were meant to be with each other. Which brings me now to the part that is the sad part. I just listened to a word that talked about this last night. You can pray for somebody for years. You can love somebody for years. You can put the time, the work, the energy. You can marry them, divorce them, do all of this. But if they ain't going to act right, and the Lord knows they ain't going to act right, at some particular point in time, the Lord himself will say, I'm done. I'm done allowing my child to go through this mess. I'm done having this person play with this person's heart. I'm done allowing this person to keep playing games with their heart. I'm done. And because I am done, understand this. You're on a clock. Now is your time to decide. Because what is going to happen is if the man does not make a decision, and sometimes it's a situation where it's the woman that needs to make a decision. Hello. A decision must be made, because what's happening is it's holding up the progress of God's desired outcome. And you ain't gonna hold up God's desired outcome. When God got a time frame, when he says it's time to go, it's time to go. Meaning, y'all better get in order or he's going to cut it. Meaning, I done gave y'all all the time in the world to figure out whether you want to be with each other. You came in each other's life. You came out of each other's life. I was here. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. Stress came on our relationship. I couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it. And God be like, I don't care anymore. I done gave you time to heal. Y'all tried to heal. You kept breaking up. Now, this is your last time, and I've been seeing these words pop up very frequently. And as you hear an alarm siren in the background. That is, when you hear alarm sirens, that means the Lord's trying to draw your attention. God is saying, listen to me and listen to me carefully. Your time is almost up. Make the decision, because I'm about to make a decision. Some people's relationships right now are on the chopping block. God is making a judgment whether these people are going to actually have the opportunity to reconcile their relationship, or it's going to be cut completely, because he got work to do, and there are other men and other women that he got waiting in the wings that are more than happy to take that person's space. Okay? So he's not going to sit up there and forcibly force your goddamn spouse to be with you. He's not going to force your woman to be with you. He's not going to force the man to be with you. Why? Because we all have free will. This is the sad part of it. If this whole word hasn't been sad enough. That if they do not choose to come into alignment for what the Lord has chosen for them to walk into, he's going to choose another. For I have, just as he said to Elijah, I got 7,000 other ones. Play me if you want to. He's got other options. Don't think nor get it twisted that if you want to sit up there and play, well, I don't want to get married right now, so I'm going to just keep playing this. This is God you're talking to. Elroy sees and hears all things. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what you're doing. He knows what kind of games you're playing, and he knows what kind of games he's playing. And he knows what kind of games he will play. Because he can see from the beginning to the end what's going to happen. So if you keep playing games, God's going to make his move. And when God makes his move, he's going to shut it down. And when God shuts it down, he's going to have that person that's waiting in the wings. Because there are other suitors that are going to be waiting for the woman. And there are other suitors that's going to be waiting for the man. That's just like what happened with Elisa Marie's video when she was talking about Paradise Island. When the woman comes to a realization, or the man comes to a realization, you're not going to change. You're not going to change. And when it comes to the point that they say, well, I no longer believe that you're going to change, so I'm going to go with what God sends me next. A lot of these men and a lot of these women that have been playing games with God, God been talking to them. God will always, 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 always give you an opportunity to make a decision. To make the decision that is best for you. But if you do not, just like in the situation of Ruth, the man that made the choice to relinquish the relinquish the land and everything associated with Ruth and allow Boaz, that man was waiting for her. That man was happily ready to take her on as his wife. And he did he not? There are men that would love to take you on. Now, what I'm going to give you a caveat for, just because your man is taking forever, you need to sit with the Lord and pray and ask the Lord, do I need to wait any longer? How much longer? The Lord will show you. I'm still working on him. I think he's going to do it. The Lord will show you. No. Move on. I know it hurt you. Move on. But he will show you. The reason I say this is because you're so close to your manifestation. Listen to me carefully. You are so close to the manifestation of your marriage. Do not sit up there and think because your man acting foolish that the Lord isn't going to sit on them one night just like he did with Joseph. That it was one night over the transpiration of a dream that he allowed Gabriel to touch his mind and be able to show him what he needed to see, and he knew what decision he needed to make. It did not take long that when the guy knows and he knows that he knows, it's done. It's going to be a situation. It's done. He's going to get into alignment if that's the case. So it may be a scenario you need to patiently wait, because I'm telling you right now, when you are this close to your God-ordained marriage, the enemy is going to send in a counterfeit. He's going to try it. And with words like this being released right now, I wanted to preface this by saying, I needed to preface this by saying, please seek God's counsel, because your God ordained spouse may be one night of prayer, one night of fasting, one night of an encounter with the Lord away from running to you. But the enemy will take that one moment, because these words are being released, and use that to get you to choose somebody else. Use that to infiltrate and send a satanic agent in to look like, act like, and be like a potential replacement for your God ordained spouse. But that is not possibly what the Lord wants done. So I wanted to preface that, because of the fact that that was not prefaced. Be very careful and very vigilant. We are too close. The enemy would love to get you caught up in marrying the wrong person, and because these marriages are meant to happen just that fast, he would love for it to send in a counterfeit that you marry like that, and you weren't supposed to marry him. That wasn't the one. You were supposed to stay and wait for the one that you were supposed to wait for. So stand until the Lord says otherwise. When you hear the Lord, because I'm sure that if you heard that he told you that this particular person was your God ordained spouse, you gonna hear if the Lord says not anymore. But you gotta sit in God's presence to find that out. You gotta come into alignment with the Lord to find that out. And no, it's not a good feeling. It isn't. It is not. Why would I bring you through all of this to give you this somber end? Because I'm not. To prevent all of this from happening, you need to be in that prayer closet. You need to be fighting for your God ordained relationship. You need to be fighting for it. Because if you are not in that prayer closet, every time they say fast, you better fast. Every time that the corporate fasts are going on with the ministries that you're aligned with, say that okay, we're doing a marriage fast. Guess what? You get into prayer closet and you start praying. You start covering every area of that man, because there's still time, but the window is closing. The window is closing. Some of y'all know who your God ordained spouses are. Some of y'all don't. But I'm going to actually pull up a segment from Acute Prayer that somebody I pay attention to, Tiffany Montgomery did. If I can find the Acute Prayer, I have an entire Acute Prayer, and I'm going to actually give you some of the context of that Acute Prayer. What it is several of the days out of the book Prayers of a Praying Wife. Get that book and start praying that in relation to your God ordained spouse. Number one. Then I have another part that talks about, this is way down on here. There it is. I have about 2 pages worth of declarations. If you can see this. I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting and the fact that I got this on black. But what is it? It's about 2 pages worth of notes. I would have to turn it over to a white background. But I'm going to read to you one segment of it that was beautiful. This is a great prayer to pray over your marriage to prevent all that I just told you from happening. Okay? Listen closely. For your marriage, I will be in a covenant of peace, as according to the end of Ezekiel 37. Go get Ezekiel 37, read Ezekiel 37, and read his covenant of peace. I declare and decree, as according to your word, we will live in peace, that your marriage will be in peace. I receive as according to your word, me and my husband will have the best friendship. I receive that I will have an exemplary marriage. I receive that we will have an extraordinary marriage. I declare and decree that our marriage will be quarrel-free. I declare over my marriage that it will be covered in the blood covenant of peace. I declare and I decree what everyone else's marriage looks like will not be our case. I declare every sign of fear would be replaced with a sign of your blessing. Every situation that would be created by the enemy to bring counterfeit miracles, God replaces them with your miracles and blessings. Instead of wandering in fear, we will see God's wonder in worship. I declare it will be said we never argue. It will be said you and your husband spend all of your time together. There is a peace of never desiring it to be any other way. We desire more time together and absolutely desire for it not to be any other way. More than anyone else's that I have ever seen. We are married by the covenant of Ezekiel 37, covenant of peace. This is a prayer that you can use to cover your marriage, to avoid everything that I just told you could potentially happen, that you've seen happen back and forth with your relationship. Cover your marriage. Do please go get the Power of a Praying Wife, because covering, when I tell you the enemy fought me something hard every time I tried to pray the prayers out of this book over my God ordained marriage. When I tell you I was fought hard, go get that book and pray it. Pray every area you see being an issue in your relationship. Pray it. Pray the whole thing every night you feel unction to, and especially pray it on your fasts. I would always pray this whenever I was in consecration for my marriage. Always. Cover your God ordained spouse. And at the end of the day, just like I stated, it's up to them to what decision they make. But the window's closing, so they need to make a decision soon. It's sad, but it's true. So, in closing, much love, faith, peace, and blessings. I hope you enjoyed from the ministry. Till next time, bye-bye.